Hello and welcome to the vlog. Today I got some interesting things going on, especially with the trailer. I haven't really given y'all an update on the trailer in a long time. And it's actually been over a year since you really heard a lot about it. So I'm going to go get it today, do some spring, get it ready for spring and such. And right now I'm just taking the 5.9 out. I got some errands to run, got some oil to recycle. So I'll catch up with y'all a little bit later. Well, here we are cruising on the interstate. Got the trailer back there, doing 70 miles an hour. This is my first time towing with those larger tires, and they're fine. They're doing great, actually. I'm enjoying it so far. The truck is doing quite well. But I'm taking this loop around on the interstate because there's no shoulder. It's a sharp right turn into my to where my house is. First road you come into, sharp right turn, and you're coming off of a 4-lane highway. So if someone's at the stop sign, I won't be able to have a wide enough turn to actually make the turn. I'll get stuck on the highway. So I'm going this way. Looks like we have some possible trouble ahead. Oh no. This is just classic. Is it every time I have a trailer we get a traffic jam? Alright y'all, I'll catch up in a minute. Well, we made it. One lesson I learned is it's tough to back in this driveway. The road's narrow. And I actually had it over in front of the 03 just fine, but I didn't want the 03 parked in, so I had to make some adjustments. In any event, it's here. It always seems to be a hassle when I hook up the trailer, but let's get to work. I got some updates for you on this thing, fill you in, and let you know how it's been this last year. Alright, so as a refresher, this is a 1987 Ponderosa gooseneck horse trailer. It's a steel trailer, and I've had it since December of 2018. I bought it on New Year's Eve, actually. And last time I featured this in an update video, I had just got done ripping out all the walls inside, which you can see here. I haven't replaced the walls with anything, which is probably a good thing. Overall, this is fine. It gave me a little bit more headroom and overall a little bit more room in here. So why did the walls get ripped out? That was to cure a mold problem. I did all of this insulation myself. There was big holes right here, and that was originally inside of the walls. So after I ripped those walls out, that cured the mold problem, at least for a year. And then the other week I went down and I saw some mold had started on these. Now when I ripped the walls out, these were mold free. So last week I sprayed everything down with vinegar. I wiped some of it down. I'm going to do that all over again today. But I'm not seeing any mold in here, nor am I smelling any either. So that's good news. There are a couple possible leaks to investigate. I'll feel around. This feels pretty dry right now, but there's definitely one right there that needs to be sealed up. There's at least 2 or 3 spots that ought to be sealed up in here. But besides that, assuming that, here's one right here too. So I'll work on that today. Everything else in the inside has been great. I've got a full mattress in here, and I've camped in this a couple of times. So I took it on 2 trips, about a 200-mile round trip with the trailer in tow, and it was good. The big issue I have is the AC. It makes a lot of noise and vibration, and I think the fan up there, the fan that blows on the radiator and is attached to the motor, it is out of balance, I think. So I'm going to get up there and take that off. I'm also going to plug in the electric. This whole thing's going to get cleaned out today and try and get it ready for the spring. Coming outside, when this trailer, most of what I use it for is storage and utility rather than camping, but I was on those 2 fishing trips with it, and I'm hoping to go on a couple more trips this year. So we got some wood back here, some gas. This is gas for the lawnmower, the weed eater, and chainsaws, and I store all those items in here. So this is a look in the storage. We've got water down at my property. There's no utilities that are hooked up. I mean, there's power pole, but there's no electric there. There's no running water down there. So I usually have some water with me. Here's the old 5.9 radiator. I've thought about doing a repair on that someday. That would be a cool video. So I still have that radiator. You know, I've got a table and a chair. If I wanted to sit back here, like on a nice day like today, I could sit in here and hang out. Chainsaws are back there. There's a big diesel jug back there also. Oil and stuff. There's that oil pan that I needed the other night and didn't have. And then I did the insulation in here as well. Overall, this is a pretty good trailer. The only thing that's desirable is this is just all open air in here. So at night, you know, it gets humid. All this stuff gets exposed to humidity, and when it rains, there can be some rain in here. But we got some thick rubber floor mats. Overall, this trailer definitely does the job for me. It fulfills a lot of different purposes. And it pulls great. I haven't had any problems pulling. So when I pull, I don't feel the trailer jerking on me when I hit bumps and stuff. Overall, everything runs smooth. The suspension back here is good. The brakes back here work well as well. Just tested those today, and they're good. So overall, the trailer's hanging in there for me. All right, so our interior is coming along quite well. I'm not seeing any signs of mold anymore. It's a fight against the climate down here with damp. This trailer's basically parked in a swamp, so that doesn't help any. But damp and humid and warm is our climate. Roof is sealed up. I used this time. This is a clear silicone, waterproof, weatherproof. Seems like a pretty good product. Outdoor sealant. This is what I used last year. This is decent, but it's a little different, I think. I don't think this is silicone. So I would actually recommend going with some sort of silicone-based sealant. Okay, so I have the trailer plugged into the house. What I'm gonna do is turn the fans on, see if y'all can tell how this works. Okay, we have no power. Okay, guess what? The fan is seized up. We're gonna have to go on the roof. Welcome to the roof. Here's a look at the AC with the cover off. This is a good old 1987 model Coleman AC unit. And it still works, it still blows cold, and you can see we have a little bit of a seized up problem. And this fan is likely out of balance from this damage here. It looks like it's really been hitting there. So I'm gonna try and mess with this. This fan shroud either needs to be expanded or the fan needs to be cut down. This is not the fan that does the interior air. This is the fan that blows over the radiator here. So yeah, this is a finicky unit, but it's also really old, and I'm just gonna have to do a little messing around with it. One thing I do notice about this thing is it will keep the trailer at about 72 degrees if you crank it all the way on a 95 degree day, which is pretty good considering the insulation's pretty amateur in the trailer, and you got a metal roof on it and everything. So in direct sunlight, it'll keep it cool in there. And at night, it'll just stream water down the side. The water will pool up here. It will not leak in the trailer, but it'll eventually be like a waterfall coming down that window at night. So it does emit a bunch of condensation in the summer when it's about in the 80s at night and high humidity. It'll do that, but in the daytime it'll dry up actually. It's an interesting effort. Got the hacksaw, and there's a piece of 2 fan blades shaved down. You can see this one's cut off there, and then there's another one sort of on the opposite side. Actually, they're right next to one another. We'll see how the balance is, and if I need to, I'll cut all of them like that, but it does spin freely now, so we'll see how it does. To start things off, we're going to try the heat. Okay, it's on low. It is making some clatter and some noise. Okay, now if I move to high, yeah, it's still making a fair amount of clatter. Alright, so I think it's going to need a little more balance. So here's the fate of the fan. I decided to take the whole thing off because I realized that it was basically at a diagonal. That's why it was hitting the fan shroud in the first place. And the shaft is pretty crusty. So, well, obviously I'm going to have to come up with a solution to keep cold air flowing over top of the radiator. But I can always throw a fan up on the roof as long as the weather's nice. And that'll probably do it. So let's test the balance now, see if it at least runs smooth. That would be nice. Here we got the AC going. It's blowing nice and cold right now. I'm just not sure how it would do as is on a hot day. Probably not that well. But, you know, if I scheduled a trip on a sunny weekend, I could put a little fan up there right in front of that radiator. That'd probably be great. This is like the #1 fix for me today, besides the mold, because the vibration and the noise, I couldn't sleep here with all that racket. So this is running real smooth. I'm definitely happy with how it's running right now. There it is, much quieter, even outside as well. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, these coils are getting a little toasty. So they're definitely going to need a fan blowing on them. I'll probably get like a box fan or something right here. That'll probably do the trick. But this is running nice and smooth. This thing would be wobbling before. Floor is nice and wiped down and clean. It's probably as good as this trailer could get. Only other issue I'm having right now is got an electrical problem. Classic. This tail light doesn't work, but if I take this light off and put it on that side, it does work. So we have a wiring problem, and the wiring will come up all the way over the top, goes through those 3 lights, and then comes down here. So somewhere between that corner and that corner, there's a wiring issue, and I haven't tracked it down yet. I'd really like to figure out what it is though, but it's not the bulbs. Well, I think this is where I'm going to end the video today. I hope you all enjoyed the vlog and being able to see the trailer. Yeah, I think it's about ready for spring. Maybe could use a little wash and maybe grease the axles. That's about it. I think it's good to go. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you next time.